Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. I'm betting many of you have played Baldur's Gate 3. In the past few years, many series have come out with heavily mixed or negative opinions. All the world is the stage, as they say. But there can be no play without actors. Often, it is the characters which drive the world. So, I'd like to dig into the different party members a bit. In the order that we meet them, first we have Les Ailes, a Githyanki, a race that lives on the astral plane, in their eternal war against the Geik, or Mind Flayers. Needless to say, there are going to be spoilers. So, when you first meet Les Ailes, it is right after you have a Mind Flayer tadpole shoved into your eye, just as the ship falls under attack. She first thinks you are a thrall, and attempts to end you. Thankfully, she quickly realizes the truth and joins up. She'll warn you that you only have a short time before you both become a Mind Flayer. From there, you'll work through the Nautiloid ship and meet Shadowheart. Eventually, you'll crash the ship and are split up. But you will find her in a cage with some tieflings. After freeing her, she will confront a tiefling scout, and she is beyond abrasive with him, falling under cruel. Through your conversations thus far, she has been unapologetic and rough to deal with. Yeah, she is rather unpleasant, and will demand to be taken to a creche, or hatchery, and outpost combo. There you are to find a cure. And the creche gives us a rather good look into Githyanki society. It is cruel. You watch a youth get killed in basic training. You also hear about an egg which is to be destroyed for hatching late. You can steal the egg and save it, and this brings a change in Les Ailes. Prior to this, if you press the topic, the idea of motherhood repulsed her. But as she takes care of the egg, she warms up to the idea, eventually taking pride in the child by the endgame. Also, while in the creche, you attempt to remove the tadpole, and it fails. This creates the first splinter in Les Ailes' faith. This will lead you to speak with the creche leaders, which turns bloody. And finally, you get to meet Les Ailes' goddess, Vlaakith, who gives you a charge, and you don't complete it, landing Les Ailes a traitor. And this brings the crisis of faith that she will go through. In time, a high-ranking Githyanki, Kithrak Voss, will approach you. He will aid you in a quest to rescue the Githyanki prince, Orpheus. In the end, Les Ailes is forced to choose rejoining Vlaakith and kill the prince, where she will then ascend, her childhood dream, and then die. Not her best ending. Instead, you could join the prince and have her partake in the rebellion against a tyrannical false god. A new purpose to drive her forward. Overall, her story goes from a devout follower, seeing the lies which she was raised on, being compassionate for her charge, and eventually goes from a mindless soldier, becoming a leader to her people. A classic story which is often seen. The themes of loyalty and betrayal can serve as powerful foundations for any story. She is a character of action, not reaction. She wants to be pushing forward, almost recklessly, of what it means. It grows from an arrogant fool to a competent leader. Shortly after meeting Les Ailes, you'll find a half-elf trapped. Once you free her, you'll have a cleric in your party. She is secretive and doesn't reveal her deity immediately. After the crash, she is the first to join up with you. But you will find a strange artifact which she is carrying to the city and won't reveal anything about it. When you attempt to speak with her, she will avoid revealing much about herself and becomes aggressive if pressed. Deception and secrets. Eventually, the artifact will protect you from a psychic attack. And Shadowheart reveals she serves a dark god called Shar, Lady of Loss, and Shadow, an enemy of Saloon, goddess of nature and light. You also learn that Shadowheart has no memories of what the mission was and what the artifact is, but recalls a few things, like how she came to follow Shar. She joined the cult of Shar after her worshippers saved her from wolves. Now, Lae'zel recognizes the artifact as being Githyanki, leading to an argument where one of them can die. Hopefully, you can resolve this without bloodshed. Now, her story is mostly passive for a while, until you reach the Gauntlet of Shar, a ritual trial followers of Shar undertake to become elite soldiers called the Dark Justicars. Shadowheart's dream to join, and it ends by killing an angel, Dame Aelin. This angel will reveal a secret to Shadowheart, that the truth is different about Shar saving her. The wolves were her parents, and the Shar worshippers attacked and took them. Shadowheart is now forced to betray the cult of Shar and potentially rescue her parents. Now, both Shadowheart and Lae'zel's stories hinge on betrayal and religion, but do so differently. Lae'zel's path is very warlike, while Shadowheart's is manipulative. They are also very different personalities. One is bold, argumentative, and unyielding, while the other tends to listen, but is decisive and slowly reveals her story. Her ending is painful regardless. Either she loses her parents she just found, or is continuously pained by Shar as punishment. Regardless, she is able to find some happiness in the end. Shadowheart's growth is limited early on due to her lost memories, but as she travels, she warms to the interactions with others. Depending on which route you go, you'll next meet an elf named Astarion. Initially, he'll try and stab you, thinking you are working with the Mind Flayers, but will come to his senses and reveal himself as a magistrate, a judge in Baldur's Gate. Yet his class is the rogue. That is the first clue that he isn't what he seems. And his stabby nature. In time, you will find a boar drained of its blood by a vampire. Soon after, Astarion will awaken you at night as he tries to feed on you. If you spare him, you'll learn that he is a vampire spawn, a slave to his master with no free will, until he also got a tadpole in the eye. Now he can tolerate sunlight and can do as he wants. Now, he's rather hedonistic and cruel, but in time, you'll find out about the extensive abuse he faced under his master Khazad-dûr, being starved, locked up for years, and having a symbol carved into his back. Astarion has been through a lot. He also brought his master more victims, and their fate does weigh on his mind. For the first time in 200 years, he is free to do as he wants, but his moral compass is rather skewed. In time, the devil Raphael will appear and ask you to slay a demon for him. Astarion will barter for information about the symbol on his back. Completing this will reveal the rite of ascension that his master wishes to perform, making him a vampire which can tolerate sunlight and is even more powerful than before. When you reach Baldur's Gate, he can lead you into Khazad-dûr's lair, where you can slay the vampire lord. Here is Astarion's big decision. Usurp the ritual, or forfeit all that power. One lets him remain the way he is, but the other will turn him into a future Dark Lord for the world to contend with. Overall, Astarion's tale is one of abuse and betrayal. His arc is filled with the lust for power and revenge, or choosing humility. It is a sad tale, and shows the cycle of such abuse. He is someone that has suffered endlessly, being forced to act against his own choices and suffer. Along the road, you'll find a portal with a hand sticking out calling for help. If you are lucky, you'll free this man. I didn't on my first playthrough. I don't like how 1/3 of the time you'll miss out on a major character. Least of all, such a great one like Gale of Waterdeep. He is a prodigious wizard with great power, but as you travel, he'll eventually reveal his condition. His magical talent earned him the attention of Mystra, goddess of magic. Sadly, he didn't feel worthy of the attention of a divine being and sought to do the incredible. Through his magical experiments, he tried to reach Mystra's level and disaster struck. He sought to prove his worth and ended up being bound to a section of the weave, which caused him to hunger for magical objects, else he will explode and kill a lot of people. You can aid him by giving up 3 magical items. Honestly, it is a pretty low cost, but each time the effect diminishes. Eventually, the Arch-Wizard Elminster will approach you and deliver a message from Mystra. Gale is to sacrifice himself to save the world, and he accepts it, though he will treasure his few remaining days. As you reach the climax of Act 2 is when he is meant to die, but if he does, you will die and fail the game, so you will need to convince him not to. But when he sees the crown of Karsus, he will gain a new idea, claiming it, and become a god. But Mystra will speak with him and ask him to give up the crown to her. And here is the crux of his decision. Does he give in to his ambition, or choose humility, surrendering power in the process? His is a tale of humility and ambition. He is a good-natured and jovial person, but doesn't agree with more evil decisions. Yet his jokes hide the pain that he is carrying. Yet he is one willing to see many sides of an issue, even willing to play the devil's advocate. His insight and understanding are invaluable. Ultimately, Gale is a character who must decide the fate before him, though he may take advice from others. Sadly, Will with a Y is probably the worst of the cast here. Someone has to have it. He is the son of a noble from Baldur's Gate. When his father and his forces were away, he had a dream of an attack on the city. So he set out to investigate, and saw a cult attempting to summon the 5-headed dragon Tiamat. A devil named Mizora makes him an offer: the power to stop the cult, in exchange for him becoming her bounty hunter for the heartless, devils, and infernal denizens. And he takes it. Hey, saving the city and all its people for one person's life? That's a fair deal, and one that many would make. But his father didn't agree when he got home and saw the devil. Will's tongue was tied and ended up being banished. Thus he wandered about as the Blade of Frontiers, hunting devils, until he also got snatched up and had a tadpole shoved into his eye. Afterwards, he got an order from Zora: find and slay Karlach. But she isn't a devil, just a tiefling. I'll get to her in a few minutes. Regardless, you can spare her or not. If she dies, Zora will arrive that evening to reward Will with robes. But most are going to spare her, and Will be reprimanded by becoming a devil, sprouting horns and spines. Yeah, he gets screwed over. Yet his luck isn't done. When you reach Joaquin's Rest, the place is on fire. You'll rush in and rescue Councilor Florence, who served Will's father, Grand Duke Ravengard. The Duke has been taken prisoner by the Cult of the Absolute, and Will is charged to find him. This is normally when you'll learn some of Will's backstory. Overall, his tale goes quiet until you reach Act 2, and Mizora will astral project into your camp with a new mission for Will. There is an asset that needs to be freed from Moonrise Tower. You can't do this until you reach the climax, near the end of the act, and it is Mizora you must free. But of course, you could just let her die, and Will is punished due to his contract, causing him to become a lemure. a twisted blob of flesh forced to fight on the front lines of the blood war. A miserable existence. But if she is freed, you can work to end Will's contract with the devil. As you continue down the tower, you'll eventually find the Absolute and the main villains. And with them is Will's father, having a tadpole shoved into him. He now serves them. You don't get a chance to rescue the Duke yet. As you give chase into the final act, you'll quickly reach Gortosh's coronation, being performed by Duke Ravengard. If you try and free him here, a fight breaks out and things won't end well. So the coronation plays out, and you leave. That night, Zora will appear and tell you that Duke Ravengard has been moved, but won't reveal where. So she forces Will to make a choice, renew his contract, and save his father, or reject her and condemn his father to death. In time, you'll learn of the underwater prison called the Iron Throne. You can break in and rescue the prisoners, including Will's father. If you refuse Mizora's request, depending on the timing, one of two things will happen. Either he is dead, or when you open his cell, exploding fire spiders will spawn and kill him. A cleric can easily protect him though, but if you agreed, she will protect him. If the Duke remains alive, him and Will argue, but are quickly brought onto terms, as the Duke learns the full truth. Regardless of whether his father lives or dies, he can make a choice. Either he will return to the city, or go on to hunt more devils. It is a choice that doesn't really hold any real weight behind it. This is why I must place Will as the lowest on the character list. His story ends up being rather passive. His main conflict is in the past. Personally, I would have changed a few things. Change the timeline. Have the reason the Duke is out of town be that he was on his way to deal with the goblins. Maybe handling the Githyanki patrol is slowing him down. Let Will speak with his father before the cult attacks and takes him, and this can be when Mizora makes an appearance. Maybe she is asking what is taking so long to find Karlach, or why she wasn't killed. Regardless, this could create a fight, but is interrupted by the attack. Now, things are more dynamic, and their relationship is more fleshed out. His story is one of contrasting duty and how far you would go to achieve it. Would you give up your soul to save a city? How far would you go to achieve it? His story is about looking at the big picture. In Will's case, he is willing to give up everything, without question. He isn't perfect, but follows a strict code. And this brings up the last of the main companions, Karlach. You'll meet her on Will's quest for Mizora. She's a tiefling who, as a child, worked for the villain Gortash, for he sold her to a devil, Zariel, and she was forced to fight in the blood wars. In time, even her heart was ripped out and replaced with an infernal engine. It empowered her, but upon returning to the mortal plane, her body is running too hot, and she can't even touch someone without burning them. But she is being hunted by Will and your party. If you kill her, her story ends. But if she survives, she will lament Will's curse, but nothing she can do. Now her infernal engine is burning up, and she seeks out a blacksmith named Damon, who, with the right resources, can give a tune-up, but he can't fix it. So he keeps looking, and will offer an additional upgrade in Act 2, which lets her touch people. You can even give her a much-wanted hug. But you also learn that there's no way to fix her engine permanently. Sooner or later, it is going to explode, unless she returns to the Hells, where she is forced to fight. She brushes the news off, until you defeat Gortosh, where she has a mental breakdown regarding her imminent demise. And there are 3 endings to her tale. When the world is saved, she can let her engine die, and end her tale on her terms. This is her most peaceful end, unfortunately, but she can be convinced to return to the Blood War to live on, and hope to find a way to escape later. It is hinted at in the epilogue, but that's it. Yet there is a third option. She can be the one to become a Mind Flayer. As such, she doesn't die and doesn't have to go back to the Hells. It sounds good, except she is forced to live in secret and sustain off the lives of others. Karlach's tale is a sad one with no happy ending. She is a happy and benevolent person, despite her utter suffering that she has endured. In many ways, she is like Astarion. Both were enslaved and abused. One more intimately, and the other more physical. Neither is pleasant. She is never able to fully escape her past, permanently marring her future. And a doomed character can pull on the heartstrings of your audience. Honestly, I would have liked to see a romance plot between Will and Karlach, if neither was romanced. The characters are a major factor in any story. They are the one who carries the events and complete the action. A memorable character will stay with you for years. They can serve as inspiration and guidance in stories, games, and life. Now, I was hoping to get through the rest of the cast, but this video is already getting a bit long. So we'll finish the rest of this next time. Thank you for watching, adventurers, and I'll see you on the roads.